Hello, Earth scientists. Today we're going to be using the Star in a Box simulator to help us understand how stars change in mass, size, brightness, and temperature over the course of their life cycle. The ultimate goal of this is to understand how a star's initial mass or beginning mass affects how it travels through the different life stages. So in order to use this simulation, the first thing we have to do is open the lid. Make sure you leave this on normal setting. We don't need the advanced settings. We're going to stick with normal. Then you're going to click on open the lid to reveal your star in its box. So this graph that we see here, this is known as a Hertzsprung-Russell or HR diagram. We're going to learn more about these in class on Friday. But a graph like this shows a star's brightness or luminosity compared to its temperature in degrees Kelvin. That's just a different temperature scale, much like Fahrenheit or Celsius. On the right here, we have 5 different characteristics of our star that we can choose to view as we're running this simulation. So the first is the size of the star. If we have this icon selected, this is going to show us how our star changes in size and color compared to the sun. Next is temperature. We can also see how the luminosity or brightness changes. We can see how much time it spends in each stage of its life. And we can also observe how the mass of that star changes over the course of its lifespan. The 3 characteristics we're going to be focusing on are size, the amount of time, and the mass of each star that we investigate. Other things we are going to need to be aware of while we're using this simulation. Up here in the top right corner of the graph, this shows us the stage that your star is in at any given point in its life. When I press play on the simulation here in a moment, you'll get to see how the name of the stage changes as the star progresses through its life. Down here in the lower right, we also have millions of years. This is where we can look to see how old the star is, or how many millions of years does it take for the star to move through the main sequence, what have you. On the lower left, we have the ability to change the starting mass of our star. These numbers refer to how much mass the star has compared to the sun. So a star that is 1 solar mass has a mass that's equal to 1 times the mass of our sun. So it's the same. If we have a smaller number, that means that that star is smaller than our sun. If we have a bigger number, that means that that star is bigger than our sun. So for now, we're just going to start with a star that is the same mass as our sun. As you work your way through the assignment, you will be looking at stars with different initial solar masses. The one other thing we need to make note of here is our speed options. You can choose to speed up or slow down the rate at which this simulation plays out. I like to start with it on normal. That's usually a pretty good speed. Worst case scenario, you can always pause or restart the simulation if you need to slow it down or speed it up to be able to collect your data for this lesson. So we'll play this one out so you can see how things change. So you'll notice the number of millions of years changing. You can see the dot here represents the star moving along the different stages, changing in luminosity and temperature. You can see that the stage name changes. And over here on the right, we can see the size and color changing because that's the characteristic that we've selected on this bar down here. So that should be all you need to know in order to use this simulation to collect your data for this. Oops, I accidentally closed the lid. In order to collect your data for this lesson. If you have any questions, please feel free to rewatch this video or shoot Miss Saunders an email.